Good evening, everybody. We made it another Monday. We made it here. We're doing another Dilem-Monday. It's another week, and I'm feeling beautiful about it. We've made it. We've made it here. So good evening. So yeah, no, it was a long weekend. There was a lot of stuff that went on. A long week last week. A lot, we're getting through all of that on that side. So yeah, plus so that's going to be the first bit of the show, and then also Dave had a great idea about we talk about so many things and so many random subjects on this show, and I feel like a lot of the times we don't get around to the random facts that come to this and come through with this. So we're going to do some of that later on as well. But yeah, no, good evening, everybody. Dave, how was your week?
I've had better. I'm glad it's over. Wow. Largely due to
happened. That was.
Let's just say multiple trips to the emergency room are not the way you really want to. I'm fine now.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
I had no idea. Were these like accidents, like you cut your finger kind of emergency rooms, or
minor, but just I couldn't. Yeah. So not to get cringy, but since we're talking about it, if you can avoid it, don't ever get like a inexplicable scratch on your eyeball. Just
oh
no. Yep. No idea where it came from, but 2 nights in a row, wasn't going to be able to sleep through that, so I had to go to the ER. They took care of me.
God,
it's weird. I've come to find that that's one of the most rapidly healing parts of your body. Like the cells regenerate really quickly, but when they're unhappy, they tell you, and you got to live through that. So I'm better now. But
that's the first fact of tonight. It appears that your eyeballs are one of the things that regenerates the fastest in your body. We love that.
Yeah.
That and your liver, if I'm not mistaken.
Fact.
Well, it's a fact. It wasn't much fun, but now I know.
Bum 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 bum.
There's gonna be a lot of that tonight.
Yeah, no. So, but you said 2 things.
Well, so I went one night, and then I went to see my eye doctor, who prescribed drops that the pharmacy wasn't really in a rush to get. So I really didn't get help the next day, and then I'm trying to sleep again. I was like, nope, this isn't gonna happen.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but I survived, and I'm good now.
I'm
glad.
Sorry to start on downer, but we can only go up from here, right?
James, fun and exciting that you did this weekend.
I wouldn't say anything was fun or exciting, but I had to stop a second grade fight on Friday, and I got a couple.
Yo! Oh man!
I'm dead serious. We're in that stretch where both kids and teachers are ready to be done for the school year.
Just I don't care, you don't care, none of us care. Let's go completely Mad Max.
Yeah, why not? Bring it on, elementary school kids.
Oh God! So you had to
hit the. Now, does your school have air conditioning?
Yes, they do, and they're very obnoxious with it. Like during the winter, they would make the room either way too hot or they don't turn it on. And during like the hot summer months, it was just unbelievably miserable over there.
Oh, because that's the thing. Like when you get to that point in May where it starts being 80 degrees, and back in the day when I was in school, there was no air conditioning.
Oh, jeez.
So it was 90, 80, and plus I was over on Long Island in Wantagh, so right by Jones Beach. So it was also like if you open the windows, the horse flies would attack you. It was just the worst. So like, why do you want us to go to school in June if you're not going to put air conditionings in? Like May and June. Are you kidding me? What student nor teacher wants to do anything in May and June when you don't have air conditioning and you have horse flies attacking you in class? It never made much sense to me. I'm
that's not the move.
Just put some air conditioning in.
If all the movie Do the Right Thing, like when it's like blistering hot, but like eventually like it like starts progressing like because everyone's so hot and angry. That's what it felt. That's probably what's going to feel like when June comes along.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I feel for you in the classrooms. See, even though Corey and I technically go to schools and things like that, we could always leave. Or we're in like the principal's office where it's nice and air conditioned.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like
suck on our end.
Yeah, school. I don't understand why schools a lot of times did not put air conditioning in or do not do things like that, because like, how do you ask people in this area to go to school at this point, at the end of the year? It's just unlivable.
No, I couldn't tell you, honestly.
That ain't the move.
No, it's not.
So speaking of people being with the news of last week, speaking of a bunch of people being stuck in an old, very stuffy room, having to get things done and make decisions, let's discuss the conclave. There is a new pope. There's a new pope, and he's an American. I didn't think I would ever live to see that. That's pretty wild. I always thought that was kind of like a joke that could possibly happen. Granted, I'm certainly not a Catholic, but it's a pretty. I mean, he's a world leader. It's a pretty big deal internationally. This is just going to be annoying.
I think you've gotten way overly into this. Like, I was like, okay, the one guy died, new guy's coming in. Yeah, kind of cool. Never been an American before, but
and just
is
the whole
really earth shattering or changing.
Oh, kind
Like,
of the whole process.
I don't understand your excitement about this. Like, this does absolutely nothing for me. I don't get Dave. What is it? Have you put a second thought to this?
Clearly not as Corey has, but I honestly, it's just kind of the fact that it's just like a 2,000-year-old institution. On the one hand, it's like that they're still keeping it going. On the other hand, they're like, why are they still keeping this going? Without changes that are needed. Like, there's never been a female pope. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. There's never been a pope. The new pope's a white guy. Okay, just maybe I'm just conditioned by the rest of the world. But
well, technically, there can't be a female pope, can there?
There cannot, because women cannot become a cardinal.
Yeah,
that's so that in
and that was one of that.
That was.
And that was one of the big discussions going into the conclave. Some of the candidates who would be more open to women having a voice in the church were some of the things that were being discussed.
How do you know what was in the conclave? Like, you're making it like you're an expert on this. I have been movie that was
listen.
And now you're the expert on conclave.
I actually studied this stuff. Well, I only watched the movie last night. I was studying this before Francis was dead. It was bound to happen.
I just
like I knew about Operation London. I knew about Operation London Bridge when the Queen died. That there are plans. There's a whole set of circumstances that, and again, as a lover of history,
a lot of time thinking about how people die. I'm just like,
it's fascinating.
I know Corey has super hearing. I thought it just meant like 2 rooms away, not 2 continents away. But hey.
I don't know. This is not things that fascinate me that much.
Was the movie good? That's
the movie was phenomenal.
I do want to see it eventually. It's long though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's on Amazon, and I know it's like rated top 10 because of the new Pope coming in.
Well, yeah,
it can't get better timing than that. Let's face it.
Actually,
I think the Catholic Church needs some of the money coming in from this, because this is kind of sounding more like Godfather 3 to me, because they need some infusion of dough, evidently, because it's not doing well, and I think that's probably going to be the Pope's greatest thing. He's got to figure out a way how to get profitable again. Because,
the new Pope Leo XIV, the former Cardinal Provost, he spoke to Lester Holt today in front of a bunch of journalists. And Lester Holt got to ask him, and he thinks that having an American as the Pope is going to kind of bring back the Catholic Church to America. It's going to kind of try to, bring it back. Since there is all this vested interest right now between the film and, again, having an American, it's a huge population group of Catholics. They think that this.
You got a major problem. One, yes, the Pope was born in Chicago, but isn't he a Peruvian citizen now?
He's a dual citizen.
I know he has dual citizenship, but when was the last time he spent time other than to see a White Sox game and see his brothers? He
did serve in the Midwest as well. On top, after his assignment in Peru, he did come over here to run the Augustinian order.
But which means absolutely nothing to most of us. But what is the Augustinian order?
So the Augustinians, they are very much into study, into kind of like how in Judaism we have the guys who study the Talmud,
and that makes no money for them either. I'm trying to see here. The Catholic Church has a major issue right now, right? Because they're getting bankrupt. Like there's been they've had some bad publicity. And whoever takes over now, if you're telling me that it was a good move because having an American can raise a lot more funds, then I think that's a tremendous move, and it's a really good business move for them. I just think that as an institution to survive, they're going to have to do things, and if that's the reasoning behind putting him there, then that's pretty cool. And I hope he does great things. I wish all the best, but if you look at the money chain, it ain't doing good.
I think, you know what? The guy seems very enthusiastic.
He's a White Sox fan. That's not very good.
Yeah. Okay.
They've won one championship in like 150 years. I mean,
but he was there. Son of a bitch was there.
Really?
He did make game it for the World Series.
Either game 1 or game 2. He was in one of those World Series games.
Yeah, they show a picture of him. He was there hanging.
Wow.
So,
I think it was game 2. I think it was the Pasetnik home run or something like that. So.
Yeah, so he was there for that. It's again the excitement that you have for this.
This is like the Catholic Olympics.
I was more excited. It was more exciting to me today when the Americans and the Chinese said, "Hey, we're going to lower our tariffs today," and the stock market went flying back up to where it was almost 6 months ago. That made me happy today. That was ecstatic moves. I was like, yes. So now if the Pope had anything to do with that, I'm all in. Did he say,
listen,
let's not gloss over the phrase Catholic Olympics. I feel like there's a lot to be explored there. Instead of the discus of the throwing communion wafers.
It's like, do I really need to know what the Catholic Olympics is going to be? Is it even worth mentioning?
Listen, and maybe I'm the only one that is like absolutely enamored by this. As I figured, as a history fan,
I think you're the only one, my friend.
Yeah, you have shown more enthusiasm over this than anybody else I know. I'm just like.
And again, maybe it's the whole being Jewish thing. This is so not our regular realm that like this is like kind of fun for me. This is like, oh man, check this. It's I don't know.
I am bewildered by your amazement by this, but I too don't care when there's a new king or a new prince or any like that. It means absolutely nothing to me. I don't care. I do care presidential elections. That's very important. That changes things for me. But this other stuff, if it doesn't directly affect the United States, I don't care. I just don't see the.
I keep thinking of him as Prince Charles, just because that's what he was my entire life, and I keep forgetting he's king over there now.
And he's King Charles.
Yeah. When was the last? When was the last Leo? If this is the 14th, how long has it been?
So Leo, I think Leo the 13th was the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century.
Oh, they didn't skip 13 for bad luck.
Yeah, no, it's not like one of those hotel elevators where they skip the floor because you don't want to have
right.
Bad luck.
I never feel good about being on the 14th floor. It's not.
But yes, he he was a big fan. Clearly, I know Leo the 14th. By the way, here he is at the game, on his phone. That's pretty. That's crazy. First of all, that the White Sox and the MLB Network were able to, like find this, have it ready to go, search through everything.
It might be a distraction if he goes now. Just imagine trying to bat a home run with the Pontiff sitting in the stands.
Right? Yeah. No,
It is nephew.
Holy Father, baby.
Is the kid his nephew?
I have no idea. It could literally just be the kid standing next to him in the stands.
Well, his brothers were there, and I just assumed it looked like the kid was pretty.
It
close
could.
to almost
It
on his
could.
lap.
I would have to assume it kind of looked like him, like it could be.
Yeah, it
related
looked like someone that would be, great nephew kind of thing.
By the way, the two brothers, they're an absolute hoot. The two, his two older brothers have, been media darlings the last week. They've, because they were just as shocked as everyone else. So they're not thinking, oh, my brother's going to be the Pope. And then they're like, Robert France. Oh my God, that's my brother. And it's so funny that no matter what level you ascend to, no matter how high you can climb, your older brothers are still going to make fun of you.
Wait, it's really annoying. It's like we're on delay, I guess. And I hear you from downstairs talking ahead of where we are on this. And it's coming from the floor down. It's really weird. But anyway,
some of the screens look like they're on delay to me tonight. Others don't. I didn't know if that was just me.
It's kind of weird, but whatever. It is what it is. I just noticed that. But I have. Can we end this Pope thing? Because I just don't care about it. This just. There's just so no interest here for me. I don't think James and Dave are really jiving at it either.
No, the only thing that interested me was the White Sox thing. That's pretty much all I have. Congratulations, we have a new Pope.
Yes.
That's it.
No, I'm more important. So we had an interesting weekend. We drove down to Hershey Park on Friday, and I made it a mission to not leave late at night because I'm like, I hate it's a 4.5 hour drive from Avon, Connecticut to Hershey, PA. And I don't know how often, if you guys driven down that way through Western PA, you got to take 84, you cut through Scranton and Wilkes-Barre and Hazleton and all that. They have been working on that road, 81, I think, for 7 years now. It's still one lane for hours at a time, 50 miles.
Oh,
and it's been that way for 7 or 8 years now. It is, and I'm not driving there at 1 o'clock in the morning because no doubt we always leave it everybody's well, I got to do this, I got to do that. It's 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and they want to leave.
And know what? I'm bitch, no, this is Hershey Park. I want to have a good time.
Well, yeah. And plus I'm dude, I'm 60 years old here. Okay. It's not fun for me to drive at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on these really terrible roads. And I'm tired at 2 o'clock in the morning, So I said, guys, we're leaving at 10 or 11 o'clock in the afternoon so that we can actually get to Hershey, have a good time. We'll stop. We always stop at the Alexis Diner down by Newburgh, the right after the bridge. So you go over that bridge right by the prison over there. It's the best diner. It's right off the thing. It's not quite the halfway mark to Hershey, but
it's a healthy divider.
Yeah, we do so many gigs that we have to go that way because they take us that way even to Maryland because they take us the western cut across type of thing. Because Hershey's really not that far from Baltimore and places like that. Because Harrisburg is right there too. So we just kind of know this road. So you stop there, but we got to Hershey at a decent hour. It was like 6 o'clock at night. So we were actually able to do something.
Egats.
Which now the other thing, we booked these hotels because we got to get 3 rooms, right? There's 4, 5, 6 of us. We have to get, everybody has to have their own bed. You got to share rooms, whatever. So you look for the deal. And I never stayed at a Hilton by Spark before. Have you guys ever stayed at the Spark hotels before?
I haven't heard of it.
So the first problem is there are 2 Spark hotels in Hershey that are like 7 miles from each other. So of course we put in the wrong one to go to the first one.
Oh.
Now, luckily we didn't take all the guitars out because that would have been such a disaster. So, but the woman's like, she laughed. She's like, don't worry, you're the 3rd people today that have done this. Like, okay, I don't feel that bad. So we go to the other Spark
Actually, no,
hotel.
we did take the guitars out. We didn't take anything else out. We took the guitars out.
I don't think we did. I think you're wrong, but it doesn't really matter. You're
By
wrong.
the way, once you're done with the hotel story, by the way, I do have a random fact that involves the Alexis Diner.
Okay, we'll do that in a minute.
Stinky.
So we go to the other Spark hotel, and when we get there, this place it had definitely been another hotel before, but they have like all this purple and yellow, and it looks like the LA Lakers or something. The color scheme. Actually, maybe the Sparks, the LA Sparks. Maybe that's where they got the thing from. And as we're walking in, I look at the pool. I was like, I've been to this hotel before.
Oh.
I know I have stayed here before.
Oh.
And I walk in, I said, were you guys the best Western ever? And they're like, yeah, for 40 years. We just renovated over the past 2 years. I was like, okay, I get it.
It's like, I've stayed there before.
Yeah, I was like, I know I've stayed at this hotel before at a bike and beer gig that we've done at Hershey before. So, now, good news, they really redid the rooms. They looked really, really cool. They're very nice. But it's a hotel without an elevator that has 3 floors.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
the bottom floor, though, you have to. It's like an old motel that you.
Exterior entrance.
You can drive your car right into that. The second floor is really the main floor. And then the third floor, though, if you got a lot of bags, you still got to carry it up the elevator.
Ugh.
And it didn't bother. They gave us, we had 3 rooms all set up. Sometimes that diamond status thing kind of helps you. You get whatever you want. But there was a family that came in, and the poor guy's like got like 13 suitcases. They're going to the Hershey Park the next day. And it's like, yeah, you're on the 3rd floor. It's like, where's the elevator? There isn't one. And the guy's just like cursing and pissed off. What do you mean there's no fucking elevator? I felt really bad for him. But the hotel had been renovated. It was pretty nice overall. We went to Hershey Park then. We went to the Chocolate World, which is always fun. Have you guys been to the Chocolate World exhibit?
Never been to Hershey yet.
I haven't been to Hershey Parks in like almost 20 years. I went there for my 10th birthday.
It's worth going.
I hope
It's
to at some
fun.
point.
And Chocolate World is actually free.
Really?
You go on the
Exactly.
ride. So Chocolate World, what happened was many, many years ago, like when I was a little boy, you used to actually go to the Hershey factory.
Okay.
And at the end of the ride, they gave you chocolate bars, but it was the real thing. And they gave you a tour. They built kind of like a Disney World kind of ride that they made a fake factory and show.
Yeah.
to show
So
you
that,
where the cocoa comes
yeah, when-
from, milk and all that kind.
It's a ride that goes through the process, and it's built with the same using a Disney-based technology with the Omni Mover system. You're going through the process of how chocolate is made, and it was much more efficient than having to disrupt, work on the floor. So they're like, what if we had made the world's most overglorified gift shop on top for those people who didn't have a whole day to go to Hershey Park, didn't feel like going to the amusement park all day, and also want to feel like the experience of like getting a factory tour without us having to disrupt factory operations.
And they have a whole bunch of other cool stuff. Like you can look at make a chocolate bar, and they have like done for little kids. They have tons of different shows.
They also have
with
like beer and chocolate pairing things, which is all
yeah, and then they
really
have this giant, cafeteria like setting where they make the best Bavarian pretzels in the history of the world, dipped in chocolate and honey mustard and cheese stuff, and it is delicious and big and delicious, and I can't say anything more. And they have chocolate beer and all kinds of cool stuff. So we partook in that. But at the end of the ride, even though it's free, they still give you free chocolate.
Even better.
So no matter what, you get chocolate. But as Corey said, then you go to the world's biggest Hershey.
Y'all like my $40 sweatshirt?
It's a nice sweatshirt, though.
Actually, you know what? It's like really nice. It's fleece on the inside. It's
even better.
Yeah, so we have lots of Hershey chocolate bars now too. We bought a whole bunch in it, and it was Dom the professional's birthday, so we had to buy him a whole bunch of dark chocolate. Dom the drummer,
and booze.
So he was ecstatic, and but we had a good time. We also decided, because it still wasn't that late, and there's absolutely nothing to do in Hershey, after 9:00. We went to the liquor store to partake in having some fun. We brought it all back to the Spark Hotel and hung out in the lobby area where you have the free breakfast in the morning. And we drank a lot of liquor and ate a lot of chocolate. It was kind of a good time. Now, Brother Dave, being Brother Dave, who was playing with us this weekend, Brother Dave doesn't know that you're allowed to show up someplace before 2:00 in the morning. So Corey and I at about 1 were like, hey, we're done. I'm going back to Brew. We got to get up in the morning because bikes and beers.
I was the one that said, I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, because we got to be there at like 9:00 in the morning.
Which no one else in the organization seems to acknowledge.
Right. So, well, they'll acknowledge when I start screaming about it. But anyway,
like that's ever stopped them or made them care.
I got there. Corey and I went to bed, but of course, Brother Dave comes in and Jack's like ready to just play. So Jack and Dave jam until 4:15 in the morning.
Oh no!
Literally, and drink and have fun.
Eek.
Yes, but I will give them credit. By the way, the worst continental breakfast in the history of the world at the Spark. Don't call it a free breakfast when you have like frozen bagels and
the continent was Antarctica.
Yeah.
What continent was this continental breakfast? It was Antarctica.
Yeah, and also Corey and I had a little problem also in the morning. Corey goes into the shower. He's like, Dad, there's water coming out of the
bottom of the shower. And it's like, it looks like dirt. It looks like someone threw up.
Oh no.
It's like stuff coming from underneath the shower drain.
And no, and not it was nothing having to do with being in Hershey either. This was gross.
First, I think he's just being crazy. I don't know. Maybe he whatever.
And you huffed and puffed. No, what? Well, I was gonna say you huffed and puffed. Oh, you're crazy. Oh. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, what the fuck?
See, we go down to the manager. I'm like, hey, dude, we need a place to shower. He's like, well, let me try with a plunger. I'm like, okay, one, it's not the toilet, it's the shower. No one went to the bathroom here. There was some crazy noise. I did hear the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, there was it was like gargling.
Yeah, it sounded like gargling coming from underneath. Whatever. I have no idea. I don't know what the guy. Maybe I don't even know if it was below or under. Whatever.
I'd rather not know.
Plunger and he sees the water coming out like a volcano from the shower thing. I'm like, dude. So they gave us another room to shower in on the 3rd floor. So, but hey, we made it work. We got it done. We left by 9, and actually Dom the professional was ready to rock, and Jack, even though he didn't sleep at all, was ready to go. And to all surprises, Brother Dave got there pretty much on time. He got there last, but he was on time. And we were ready to rock, and we had a great show. Trogs is a fantastic brewery. Really good time. One of my favorite places to go.
Trogs that produces the Graffiti Highway IPA.
Yes, it is.
Like you brought some of that home.
I did.
Yeah, they gave us tons. They gave us a whole bunch of 6-packs.
3 cases.
Oh, jeez.
Which I'm not complaining about because it's really good beer.
Yeah, no,
But,
these are nice people.
By the way, or yeah.
Do they need a comedian anytime soon?
I think we should bring a package toward a Hershey. We should do it. We should all go. We should do, a Saturday. I was going to say we do a Saturday, Sunday, Monday weekend at Hershey. But
I'm sure they'll give us a show.
Speaking of our actual journey here, to start off some of our fun facts.
No, I'm not done.
Oh, you're not. Okay. Keep going.
Fun begins.
Wow.
We're off to an early start with the fun, by the way.
Yeah, the fun facts. So, fun fact: on the way back, we went to the Coco Diner.
What is that?
I mean, when you're in
this is like when you're in Atlanta and everything's Peach Street.
We went to the Coco Diner, which actually was pretty good.
Coco Diner was great.
Coco Diner, it was rocking. And then so Corey had a show on Mother's Day also, and it was at the Sonesta Hotel in White Plains.
Which, by the way, White Plains is like this goofy little city. It's like fun. Everyone there seems to be just living,
having a good time. It was a cool city. Yeah. I mean, I've never spent that much time. I know Corey played there one night in White Plains, but we haven't really spent a lot of time in White Plains in my life. Really nice, really safe, cool city. Sonesta Hotel is like a 5-star hotel, and it was really nice. So Lisa met us in White Plains. She switched cars with Jack so that Jack could take
my car,
Corey's car, back.
So yes, he had to drive after the day of him not getting to sleep until 4.
Yeah, but he slept in the car, so it was
he did.
But so we get there, and they have this beautiful mall there. The typical Nordstrom's, and there's a Cheesecake Factory type of place.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a high end. We went Cheesecake Factory. Always
Neiman Marcus.
Went Cheesecake Factory. Always
Neiman Marcus was out of business.
They still have their Neiman Marcus building.
Oh yeah. I said Nordstrom.
Well, I remember seeing the Neiman Marcus sign.
But no, high end. Everything was really nice. And great show at the next day at the Sonesta. Really neat place. I as much as I did not like the breakfast at the Spark Hotel, the Sonesta was phenomenal. Everything that you should have. And you know what? They gave me free vouchers for it. So it was even better because I'm a platinum member or whatever the highest is in Sonesta, because I'm a Founders Club member through the Founders thing. So they upgrade you to a whole bunch of stuff if you join the Founders Club. So I have that. But yeah, no, good times. It was like I said, we drove a lot. And even the day before I was in Albany, which was crazy. So I drove a lot this weekend, but it was a fun time. We got to do a lot of different things, see a lot of different stuff. And I would just go hang out in White Plains for the weekend, stay at the Sonesta and go shopping. It was fun. Nice place.
Yes.
All right, Corey, what's a fun fact?
So on the journey there and back, we passed this diner that we regularly stop at, the Alexis Diner, and the Alexis Diner is right by the Fishkill Correctional Facility, which is a wonderful example of turn of the century penal architecture. Now, the Fishkill Correctional Facility has housed some notable prisoners, including Black Rob, who is a member of Diddy's gang of musicians. He was signed to Bad Boy Records.
I thought he was a Kardashian or something.
And then
probably that too.
Well, Rob wasn't. Just all of their husbands are. But the longest serving prison inmate in the history of the United States, who, by the way, was from Hartford, Connecticut, Paul Geadle Jr. born in April 21st, 1894, and died 1987. He served a total of 68 years and 296 days. The last of his stint until he was paroled because he was just old and ancient was
What
at
did he do?
He early life, and I'm reading off the Wikipedia page. On July 26, 1911, Geedle, 17 years old at the time, robbed and murdered an elderly 73-year-old, William H. Jackson, a wealthy broker. Jackson was a guest at the Iroquois Hotel on West 44th Street in New York City, where Geedle had been working as a bellhop. Geedle entered Jackson's room and suffocated him to death with a rag filled with chloroform. Geedle made off with only a few dollars. He was arrested 2 days later and subsequently convicted to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison.
Sounds like his era's Luigi Mangione.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, this guy definitely has some Luigi energy going with him.
I'm assuming he might have committed a few more murders while he was in the penal system.
I don't think so. I think literally they just gave this guy the imprisonment. He began a sentence in Sing Sing. Shortened his sentence for good behavior and nearing the possible parole hearing. Doctors found Geedle was legally insane in 1926. Moved him to a state hospital for the criminally insane, where he was confined until 1972. He was then moved to Fishkill Correctional. Here, Geedle lived out in a unit designed for elderly inmates that resembled more of a dormitory than a prison.
Was he still insane?
I guess. Yeah, he was.
You're not insane. Is insane.
They used to let him out for supervised outings, like to go to baseball games.
What?
Because I guess at that point he was like,
wrong with this country.
He was
it's not just now.
Well, because I guess they realized he committed a murder, but he was criminally insane. But it wasn't the case. They didn't realize that when they convicted him. And
so
he really
they were in to go out with 45,000 people to a baseball game. I
guess he was guarded and attended, and at that point, they couldn't move him out of the prison at that point. He had spent 68 years in prison.
We had tenure.
Yeah, kind of. Actually, it was 20 years to life, not 10 years to life. But yeah, no. So I guess eventually when he just got old and they realized he's not really a criminal, he's just crazy. They're like,
your explanation of this is so poor. I'm going to have
so
to.
You're telling me that there's going to be inmates that probably want to go see for shits and giggles. Say they want to go see Chris Stapleton, and they're going to allow that? That doesn't make any sense.
I saw a bunch of prisoners went to a Jelly Roll concert, and they had him on stage.
Well, because they served with him.
Well, actually, no, these were just random prisoners. But yes, because he wanted to see, and good for him for saying, "Hey, can you get me these like non-violent offenders who like want to just like but
that's like Johnny Cash. These are guys who serve time.
Well, yeah. Like, well, okay, Johnny Cash. Okay, no insult to Johnny Cash, but the dude was such a poser about his whole jail time thing. He spent a few nights in a county jail maybe for having some pills. The dude never did hard time. Merle Haggard did hard time. Merle Haggard was supposed to spend the rest of his life in prison actually for killing and like horrible things and all these not killing, robbery. Lots of robberies and lots of escaping other jails. But like Merle Haggard made Johnny Cash look like a schoolboy. And yeah, he wrote the song about the prison, but like, and so all of a sudden Johnny Cash is like, oh, Mr. Prison Guy. We're like, there are guys who went to jail. Is
this one of your fun facts, by the way?
Sure.
All right, can I go, Dave? Can you give me a fun fact that's not as ridiculous as Corey's, please?
I pulled together a bunch tonight. I'm going to pose my first one in the form of a question to see if anyone has heard of this or knows about. You might know about some of this, and of course, I know Craig has a very specific threshold for what's interesting and what's not. So hopefully, I'm within the zone. We'll see. All right. This is does anyone know what these celebrities have in common? And I'm looking for something really specific here. It's sort of common knowledge. I think at least one of you is going to know this. It's not generic, like they all have nostrils. It's something that, that very few other celebrities have in common with this group. But here's the names and see if you can guess what I'm alluding to.
Okay.
The four celebrities are Michael Keaton, David Bowie, Albert Brooks, Katy Perry.
Oh,
So as a hint, I'll say this has nothing to do with their
Religious parents?
songs or movies. What?
Religious parents?
No.
Okay.
I believe that's true for Katy Perry. I'm not sure about the others.
is it like
High IQ.
No, this is something like, again, very specific that does not apply to many celebrities.
Is
just
it
these
physical appearance at all, or is it just like what
nothing to do with their appearance. Just the fact that they're celebrities, really, not their acting or singing. Or if I can't think of a better hint, I'll just announce it. But it has something to do with their identities.
Chat, if you know the answer, let us know.
Is there a person in the room I can't see?
I mean, like I'm trying to go through I know each one of these like I know Albert Brooks is supposed to have an extremely high IQ, and I'm assuming David Bowie and Katy Perry are all very high IQ people. Mensa Society members, possibly David Bowie too, possibly. But that's not even getting a shake of the head for Dave saying, no, you're not even on the right course. Craig, shut up.
I share a birthday with Albert Brooks. He's a July 22nd guy.
Wow. Now, fun fact, do we know who Albert Brooks' brother was?
Bob Einstein.
That is correct.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, the actor?
Yeah.
Okay. James's facts, that's actually kind of related to what I'm getting at.
They had famous siblings, all of them?
Are they all July 22nd birthdays?
Nope. James was close, I'll say it. All four of them use a stage name because their birth name is the name of another celebrity.
Oh.
Michael Keaton's, David Bowie's birth name is David
Interesting.
Jones. Michael Keaton's birth name is Michael Douglas. Katy Perry's birth name is Kate Hudson, and Albert Brooks is born Albert Einstein.
Oh, I never thought about that.
And there's a few other pairs that have done like initials, like Michael B. Jordan. Mark L. Wahlberg is a TV host unrelated to the actor, former rapper. And I think there's multiple Vanessa Williams out there.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
But those are the ones I could think of that changed their name because as they were becoming famous, there was already somebody pretty well known with their birth name already.
I was watching the Marky Mark movie at the hotel the other day where he becomes a priest. Where he goes from being,
that? I don't even remember.
Is that what
yeah. It was decent. It was good with all of the Catholic oriented things on TV. It was not the one I was expecting. The last few days.
Fun fact. Do you guys know who Albert Brooks is? We've got his brother down. Do you know who his best friend is?
I don't think I do.
I am shocked Corey has not gotten this right. Do you want a clue?
Yes.
He was in a famous 1970s sitcom.
1970s.
Oh, is it Meathead? Is it Meathead?
It is Meathead. It is Rob Reiner. Good job. I wasn't even like the best clue in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Einstein is his brother. He was like a really good athlete. He was like a star basketball player, which you wouldn't. I guess
put on the yarmulke, Larry. Larry, put on the yarmulke.
Yes, Larry.
You're gonna put it on, Larry.
But no, Albert Brooks, they have quite an interesting family and stuff. There's a documentary that he and Rob Reiner sit there and just kind of go through his life and how things happened. And, Albert Brooks is basically Woody Allen, just without the sexual problems. So, but very big nebbish as well.
Big fan.
All right.
James, a little further down the road, Lee, not soon, Lee.
All right. I'm sorry. Was it my sport? Was it a sports fun fact?
Any fun fact. I don't care what it is.
Well, I guess the only fun fact that I can literally think of on top of my head is that more men have walked on the moon than Mariano Rivera has given up runs in his World Series career, which is outrageous.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah, I think like there's like what 12 men on the moon, and I think Mariano Rivera gave up only like 10, like in his World Series career, which is unheard of.
And I got to hang out with Mariano Rivera in the American Girl Star in New York City.
I think you mentioned that one week.
Yes. That's my best fun fact about Mariano Rivera. The difference was I was buying $1 for Alicia because I had gotten Corey the
Imagine record.
the Imagine gold record at the College Football Hall of Fame. So I figured I had to do something for Alicia that would match up because, you know, when you have kids, you can't show favoritism. You got to always try to, like, you know, do that. And I was actually sitting there telling Mariano about my day and who I was with, which, you know, coincidentally, George Steinbrenner was actually there at the College Football Hall of Fame thing. So it was kind of interesting. We had a few minutes of fun. Corey, what fun fact do you have? And please don't make it about the Pope.
It won't. I think I gave already all of my conclave facts for the episode. Do you want hockey or baseball?
Baseball.
7 fathers and sons have been struck out by Nolan Ryan. There have been 7 pairs of fathers and sons who both, and by other fact, by the way, kind of has to do with this kind of in a way as well, my hockey fact. So, does anyone have any guess as to who any of these 7?
Yeah, I can give you a few. I'm going to start with the Griffies.
That's what I was going to say too.
I'm going to go with the Boons.
Wait, I don't see the Griff. Yeah. Oh wait, never mind. There they are.
Senior and junior were on the same team.
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Boons next.
I don't see the Boons.
No Bob or Aaron or
Nope.
the Boons.
No, I don't think Aaron made his debut yet.
Ripken?
Both Ripkins.
Okay. I'm going to go with
Gonna
the
be one of
Bells.
the for the guessing.
The Bells.
The Bells are not there.
David and Buddy.
Excuse me. The Ripkins are not there. I misread that.
Yeah, because the Ripkins were brothers, Cal and Billy Ripken. They're brothers.
And Senior barely played, so
There is another junior and senior though that everyone is missing.
all right, hold on. I didn't know.
And I guess the fun fact on them, I think this is the very easy giveaway. They played together.
we said the Griffies.
Did we say the Griffies already?
Yeah,
That was the
said-
first thing we said.
Oh, I thought you said the Bonds first, but
Oh, well, I mean,
Thank you, the Bonds. That would be the next one. But yes,
We
we
didn't say
started
that at all. I thought
Yeah.
I had rain
Was
fog
it
this week.
Bobby and Barry, right? Or
yep.
Yeah, that would be.
And I'm presuming their cousin as well.
Reggie Jackson.
I'd have to imagine at some point.
Yes, that the fun fact would be that Bobby Bonds and Reggie Jackson are first cousins.
Really?
Yes, they were first cousins. I have it on that on my baseball card from many years ago. It says, "Fun fact:
Yeah.
Reggie and Bobby were our first cousins." I'm trying to think other fathers and you're sure the Boons, none of the Boons were struck out by Nolan Ryan?
I can check it one more time here. I didn't have it on my list.
Oh,
The Franconas?
Yep.
Yes.
The Franconas.
The Alomars are the.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, that would make sense. What do we have left?
You have Hal and Brian McRae.
Didn't say that.
Okay, I wouldn't have even thought of it, but that makes a lot of sense.
And Maureen Bump Wills.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, do I get extra points if I know that Maury Wills was a Dodger and Bump Wills was a Texas Ranger? Do I get points that Hal and Brian McRae were Kansas City Royals? So, at least part of the time. Hal McRae was part of the team with George Brett and those guys. Hal would be like the second leading hitter in baseball every year, right next to George. Very good DH. That was
Very
a good
nice.
question.
I like
Can
that.
I give one follow up very quickly?
Sure,
That has
you
to-
can do whatever you want.
That has to do with age here. Bobby Orr's entire life, professional career, and induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame happened within the professional life or the professional career of Gordie Howe.
That makes no sense what you just said.
Say that again. I had to literally.
Bobby Orr's entire professional career and then induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame happened while Gordie Howe was playing professionally still.
Yeah, but that's not a big deal. That doesn't even.
That's crazy when you think about this. A guy
Why? You have to be retired for 5 years. How does that make it? That's. I don't know how long you have to wait, but that Bobby Orr didn't play that long. That's. I mean,
He was also a defense. He was also a
because
that's not a fun fact.
Oh no, his life. His life. He was born in 1948. Bobby Orr was born in 1948 during Howe's second NHL season. By the time Howe had been retired in 1980, Orr had already been inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1979. So from the time he was born into the time he got inducted, Gordie Howe is still playing hockey professionally.
I mean, that's cool, but
That's insane.
I still don't care.
That's wild.
All right, good. All right,
Dave,
I got to.
Or do you have a fact? Yeah. I thought you were Mr. I don't have facts, but what's a fact?
Well, I didn't look any of this up, so I might be wrong, but this is a fact that I know. All right, it's more in a way of a question. There are two people from the New York Yankees who are both from Oklahoma, both of which were signed to play another position than they actually played, but then ended up playing the same position, but not the one they were signed for.
Oh, shit.
And James, you should get this. I will be disappointed in you if you do not.
Oh God! I
Wait.
feel like I'm put on a spot over here.
Wait, one of them is Alex Rodriguez, right?
You'd be wrong. Not even close.
No,
We
because
said- wait.
A-Rod was shortstop, but when he got traded,
Wait, oh, you said the Oklahoma. Excuse me.
They're both from Oklahoma.
Okay.
Can I throw it out?
They
Is
were both.
Roger Maris?
That would be wrong.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm gonna hate myself for this one. Okay, so they're both from Oklahoma.
And they were both top Yankee picks. They were both supposed to play one position. They both ended up playing a different position, but the same position that they were both moved to. And I'll give you another clue. One was the replacement really for the other. Eventually.
And they're both from Oklahoma.
I'm blanking right now.
Do you want more clues?
I'll take one more clue.
All right, I'm trying to see how much of a clue that would just throw it over the. Okay. One of the players was traded for Bobby Bonds.
Oh shit.
Wait. Oh, wait. Oh my God. Wait. Fuck. I mean, wait. Wasn't this like a bit? Wasn't there like a three-way trade that was involved? It was like Bobby. No. I'm thinking of the wrong. Right? Wasn't Bobby Bonds involved in some trade that had multiple, like more than two parties involved?
No, this has nothing to do with that. You're on the wrong trail. But one of
Are
the
they-
people.
Are they a member of the 77, 78 World Series team? Or is it earlier than that?
I will give you this second clue.
Okay.
This person, you remember, he was traded for Bobby Bonds.
Okay.
So he left the New York Yankees in 1975
Okay.
to be traded for Bobby Bonds. But I will let you know that he did was brought back to the Yankees later on, but he was no longer a star.
Oh my God.
Does he have a different middle name in certain parts of the country?
What?
What?
I'm gonna. I have no idea right now.
Is his
And
blood
no, he
type
was
double
never
O
running
negative?
for the Pope.
All right.
No, I was gonna say you would think the guy. He's a White Sox fan, but wouldn't you think that he'd be a fan of the Cardinals?
But a bump.
Oh my God, I can't. I have no idea right now. Okay,
All right. Let me go with another. I don't want to make it too easy though, because
I know. I understand you're feeling the.
All right, they were both drafted as shortstops.
Bobby Mercer.
That is right.
Okay.
Wait. I said Roger. I said Roger Maris. Is it Mickey Mantle?
Was an outfielder.
No, but is it Mickey Mantle?
As a shortstop from Oklahoma. It is Mickey Mantle and Bobby Mercer.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew one of the two of them was from Oklahoma.
I have no idea.
Wait, no, because I don't know. I thought I knew one of the two of them was from Oklahoma.
Well, you got the wrong one.
Wow,
I'm Rogers from Texas, but it doesn't matter.
I feel like
Bobby
I got
Mercer
the harder
and
one.
Bobby and Mickey were both from Oklahoma. They were both number one picks. They were both drafted as shortstops, and they both became center fielders.
Okay, I won't lie. I had no idea that Mickey Mantle was drafted as a shortstop. That's completely new to me. So I guess that's my fun fact for the day. That is actually really cool, though.
That's a cool fact, right? And I didn't even look that shit up, so I could be totally wrong.
Now I have to look for some fun facts. I mean, that was like the only one I could think of.
Dave, give us some fun facts.
Well, the nerd in me has always kind of been interested in like anagrams, just like rearranging letters and names and things like that. I don't know how interesting this is going to be, but sometimes there's fun ones for celebrities. Like I looked up some or just put some together for this group. Craig Riemann becomes Cigar Marine. Corey Riemann becomes Ion Creamery, and James Yevon becomes Jive Yes Man, if you rearrange the letters correctly. There's some really good celebrity ones. Some of them are common. Some are even fitting, like Clint Eastwood's becomes Old West Action. Eric Clapton is Narcoleptic. Justin Timberlake becomes I'm a Jerk, but listen. But I think the best one I've ever heard, and this will always stay with you, is Academy Award-winning actress Marissa Tomei. You can rearrange those letters to spell "It's a me, Mario."
I love Marissa Tomei. She's so just awesome.
Yes. And that's with the A. It's ITSA.
All right. Well, thinking of Cousin Vinny, and Corey knows the answer, so it's going to really. What music group was Joe Pesci associated with?
Wait, I think I used to know this.
Can you elaborate on associated? Like, did you play with them?
Or? Same neighborhood and worked as their road manager.
Yes.
He was in his own band, though.
But Joe Pesci had a big part in these guys. There was a Broadway show and later a movie written about them and Joe Pesci's participation in it.
4 Seasons?
That is correct.
Absolutely.
Really?
What did he do?
He was their buddy. He was their buddy. He was their road manager. However, Joe Pesci did play in a group called Joey D and the Starlights, which was a famous rhythm and blues group. So yes, it is fair to say that Joe Pesci did at one point replace Jimi Hendrix in a group that Jimi Hendrix was in.
I've heard of Joey D, but that's like early 60s. Was Joe Pesci?
Yeah, no, they were like, yeah, Joey D.
Is an old guy. He's in his like mid 80s, right?
At this point.
Yeah.
I guess.
But yeah,
so.
Joey D and the Starlights, they were, he was like a guitarist singer. He was buddies with the guys in the Four Seasons. and had mob connections. So what a great way to start in the industry in the 60s.
Do I amuse you?
I make you up. Oh, and we lost Corey.
Oh, thank God. We can get to a fun fact without talking about something ridiculous now. Let's see. You see, I have a ton of like sports stuff, but they're like
Okay.
kind of like stupid Corey shit. So I don't want to like do those. Sports.
I was trying to find like crazy sports facts or something.
So, okay, here's one. It's not one fact, but this is one that history nerds like me always go back to. Are you all familiar with the coincidences between the Kennedy and the Lincoln assassinations?
I have read the list. It is pretty interesting.
This is
They both used a gun.
No, you're just looking so intelligent this evening. So
one of them actually used a slingshot, but okay.
So yes, between the similarities between the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and wrestling Hall of Famer Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846, Kennedy in 1946. Lincoln's elected to the presidency 1860, Kennedy in 1960. Both the names Lincoln and Kennedy contain 7 letters. Both were concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost children while they were in the White House. Both were shot on a Friday. Both were shot in the head. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners and succeeded by Southerners, whose successors were both named Johnson.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in Ford's Theater. Kennedy was assassinated in a Lincoln made by Ford. By the way, I'm pretty sure
this is good, Corey. I'm going to give you props. Like that is phenomenal. That is a phenomenal fun fact.
1% of the population goes by all 3 of their names. This includes Lee Harvey Oswald and John Wilkes Booth. By the way, also throw in what's his face who tried to kill
Joe Ruby.
I'm throwing in John, or not John Hinckley. Who's the, oh my God,
Princip? No, that was the Archbishop.
Sirhan.
Cholgols?
No, I'm trying to think of the other guy who went by all 3 of his names. Oh my Lord. But yeah, there's like all of these crazy coincidences between both of these.
Yeah, I've seen that before, and like it's often said that when you want to find comparisons between a couple of things, if you look hard enough, you'll find them. This list goes beyond that.
Yeah. Oh, like the fact that John Wilkes Booth ran from a theater and ended up getting apprehended in a warehouse. Lee Harvey Oswald left a warehouse only to be apprehended at a movie theater.
What a wild coincidence.
Crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
I got to give you credit. That one was that's better than the Kevin Bacon game. I mean, that was just really good. Yeah, no, that's that was very, very, very fascinating. I hate to admit that you came up with the best one of the night, but
absolutely go yourself.
Yeah. But I'm still disappointed in all of you, especially James, that he couldn't get the Oklahoma one right.
I'm a little pissed at myself for that too. Well, I also didn't know I didn't know Mickey Mantle was drafted as a shortstop too, so that was completely new to me.
All right, I'll do another baseball, and I mentioned one of their names. There is a father and son who played baseball. They were both third basemen.
Mark David Chapman and James Earl Ray were the other 2 I was thinking of. Excuse me. Continue.
I didn't know those were baseball players.
They had identical numbers when they retired almost. Who are they?
Identical numbers when they retire.
And by the way, there is a third. There is who played for the Mets later on, as well, but did not do as good as his pops and his grandfather. But his grandfather and the father had almost identical amount of seasons, bats, home runs, batting average was within a few points, and they were both what you would call just on the verge of Hall of Fame, all-stars, but not quite Hall of Fame. Although in today's new metrics, they might be.
I know that Cecil and Prince Fielder ended with the same amount of home runs, like in their career, I think. But is that
They're not. It is not. It is not them.
Okay.
Still really cool.
And they did play the same position as well, first base.
First
but
base.
not the right answer.
But it's not the fielders. Okay. So.
No, it is not.
Well, they're in the infield. The first.
Well,
base.
they both were in the infield, so it was the fielders.
Same position.
Both third basemen.
Oh, both third base. Oh, why did I say first baseman? Third baseman. Okay.
I'm sorry, Dave. I know you have no shot at this one. I apologize.
Third base.
I know more obscure, stupid facts about baseball than
it's an obscure facts show, so it fits.
I feel like it's testing my baseball trivia to the test. And I feel
Corey,
like
do you know the answer?
I remember you telling me this, so I'm not going to say anything.
And we mentioned this.
Oh, so you actually know the answer? Well, say it because James is not going to get it at this point.
I'm gonna now that I'm saying no, I'm blanking on the names, but I remember this. You telling me.
We mentioned it earlier today. We did.
I already mentioned them today. Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Third baseman.
I mentioned them as, and it really was kind of stupid because
Was it the Alomars?
No. Although Roberto and they played the same position, but no. I will give and by the way, Roberto was a much better player than his father. It's not even close.
Roberto's a Hall of Famer.
And Sandy was a better player than his father as well. But no, these two guys, if you look at their baseball card, you will see that they were almost identical. All right. Their last name. Their last name has a famous thing about Philadelphia in it.
Well, famous thing about Philadelphia.
It has crack in it.
G-State?
The Bells. The Bells, yeah.
Gus and Buddy Bell, if you look that up, you will see that they had almost identical careers. It's fascinating. And they both played a long time, and they were both great fielders, just cool stuff. The two guys could have that close a career. Because most of the time, Bobby Bonds was probably the closest thing to Barry, but, it still wasn't even close. I mean, Barry had, a greater career than Bobby. Now, if Bobby had taken roids instead of cocaine, he might have had a better career like his son, but, he liked other stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dave, you have any other more obscene, crazy, fun facts?
Yes, here's one that'll. This is more WTF, but it's going to stick with you because it did with me.
Okay.
I trust you're all familiar with former child actor and present-day social media persona Macaulay Culkin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Absolutely.
Are any of you aware of what his middle name is? Don't Google it. Yeah, if you knew, you'd be reacting, so you don't. He was born with a reasonably normal name given by his parents, as normal a middle name as you can have when your first name is Macaulay. But a few years ago, he changed it to Macaulay Culkin. His full legal name is Macaulay Culkin. This is true.
That is the most Macaulay. I think that is so Macaulay Culkin.
So it's Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, that is his legal name now.
Wow.
And that loser is married to Brenda Song.
I'm not sure who his spouse is, but
the girl from The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody is now married to
London Tipton. Basically.
Yes, London Tipton is now married to.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I remember London Tipton. I remember who she was.
I've got a WTF.
Go ahead.
Hear it.
So, Bill Barelko was a player in the 40s and the 50s for the Toronto Maple Leafs. the last time they won the cup, I believe, was up to this point had been 1949. Bill Barelko, it's the only time that the Stanley Cup, every game went into overtime. Bill Barelko scores the winning goal, leaves for the season as the season had ended, goes on a fishing trip, and his body goes missing for 15 years until the next time it goes. And the next time, by the time they find his body, it's 1962. The next time the Leafs won the cup. So the last goal he ever scored.
Turn into this. This is like just
the last goal he ever scored won the Leafs the cup, and they wouldn't win another till 1962, the year his body was discovered.
Was it discovered before or after the championship?
After, I believe. Great question.
all right. I'm not about this. I don't care.
I don't know I don't know hockey at all.
All right, I got one. Corey's going to get it right, most likely. What did Jerry Springer do earlier in his career before he became the Jerry Springer Show?
Oh,
Wasn't he a mayor?
He was the mayor. He was the mayor of Cincinnati.
Oh, that's right.
And his show was like normal for many years. It didn't start as the shock fest it became known for.
Yeah, he started off basically stealing Phil Donahue and
very similar format.
Yeah, another Chicago kind of like show, just like Oprah.
Pope.
And Oprah started getting more successful than Phil. So Jerry decided to go completely wacko, and it worked. God bless him. But no, that is. I know we discussed this before. With when we did the actresses that day, the two that I find hysterically funny but fun facts, Dr. Ruth and Julia Childs.
Yeah.
That's
a sharpshooter and a secret agent. I mean, that's just great. And then what's her name with she invented the blue
Hedy Lamarr. Yeah.
Hedy Lamarr. The greatest invention of our time. That's phenomenal. Let's see. All my stuff's like stupid sports, so I feel bad.
Is one of them
just because we for this weekend in Hershey, Pennsylvania, many years ago, one of the greatest sporting feats of all time happened, and to this day, it's still one of the greatest feats that will probably never be broken.
Oh,
in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Corey, do you know the answer?
I feel like I do, but shit, that doesn't really help though.
How did you say
feeling it and knowing it are two different things. So Hershey, Pennsylvania, one of the greatest sporting achievements in the history of all sports happened in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Does it have anything to do with horse racing?
It does not.
Is it anything to do with running?
It does not.
Oh, jeez.
Is it an event that regularly takes place there, or was it like a one-time thing? Or can you not answer that?
Sometimes professional sports teams would play there without giving up too much.
You're not going to say it's some like Evil Knievel shit, right?
No, this is something that's a regular sport. But it has never been broken since it's been done, and no one's really ever come close to it. I will give you this. It was in the sport of basketball.
It wasn't a 100-point game, was it?
That's where Will Chamberlain had his 100-point game against the New York Knicks. It was in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Really?
See, that was a cool fact.
I did not know that at all.
What was is the place that it happened still open? Like the
Yes.
venue?
Yes. Yeah. Hershey still, it's kind of like Hartford used to have the Whalers play there, and the Celtics used to play at the Civic Center a few games a year. Hershey would do that with the Philadelphia teams.
Interesting.
Very cool.
And one of the shames of everything is there's very little, if no, footage of the game between the Knicks and the Sixers, because it was in Hershey, PA, and in one of the two major cities.
That's crazy.
So,
That's
but
pretty
yeah,
cool.
no one's even come close to the 100.
No, I mean,
And I doubt that's one of those unthinkable. I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to do it kind of deals.
No, I mean,
So-
Kobe was close. He had 82.
Yeah. I mean, Kobe, he came close and as close as you're going to get. But, there's been some guys, David Thompson got in the 70s and, Jordan high 60s. But yeah, no, it's a pretty unthinkable scoring deal right now.
Okay.
So, Hershey, PA.
I got another cool one for the whole panel here.
All right.
I'm trying to.
I thought you were open the whole panel.
Well, no, I mean, no, but like the overarching.
That all of us have an equal opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm trying to decide if I want to just read this as a fact or get y'all to guess on this. It's gonna be too hard to put it as a question. John Cazales was in 5 movies in his career. He was in all 5 of which were nominated for the Best Picture.
John, what was the last name?
John Cazales.
I know who you're talking about, and I know who it is. So, The Godfather 1 and 2, Dog Day Afternoon, and the with James Dean.
You have two left.
I said the one with James Dean.
I know the Deer Hunter is one of them, which is, I think was his last movie, right?
And the Deer Hunter. Yes.
The Conversation. So yeah, The Godfather Part 2, The Conversation, Dog Day Afternoon, and The Deer Hunter.
Conversation. No, what was the one with James Dean?
To do with that.
No, he was in the. Wasn't he in with the James Dean?
Isn't James Dean dead?
James Dean was dead by 1959.
I thought he was in the movie with James Dean and Natalie Wood.
No.
Without a cause?
No, that's what's his face who ended up going crazy. That's Sal Mineo.
Okay. All right. Well, we got 4 out of the 5.
Did he just stop acting, or did he die?
He died.
He died.
He was dating Meryl Streep at the time. They had been in a long-term relationship, and he just died.
Well, he had lung cancer, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he was a chain smoker, so it makes some sense. But like, it's crazy. This dude was, and is still to this day considered one of, especially among his contemporaries, one of the great actors. But he had such a limited portfolio. But each one of the films that he was in, all 5 of them, got nominated for the Best Picture,
Which is track record.
Crazy.
However short, yeah.
Yeah, but he never.
I don't know if there's anyone else who ever did that.
He was always a supporting actor, as it were.
Hey, he was still in it.
Did he win anything for Part 2?
Let's find out.
He didn't. Somebody won for that. Was it?
It was in 74, whatever.
Yeah.
Al Pacino probably won.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
That's great. Like that one to me always was crazy, and like, yeah, it like effed up Meryl Streep for like years, because like, here they are. She's not yet obviously the Meryl Streep that we know, but he did win, by the way, for Best Supporting Actor in Dog Day Afternoon. Nominee, excuse me.
Oh.
Didn't Al Pacino win for that though? He won the Academy Award, right?
Yeah, I think he won for that. Possibly Godfather 2. Scent of a Woman, I'm pretty sure he won for that.
He definitely won for
much later.
I love Scent of a Woman. What a great movie. But he's not a snitch.
Ooh-ah.
He's not a snitch.
Crazy.
All right. Well, this one's not a great one, but do you know the fighter that the Rocky movie was actually designed after?
I think I did know this at one time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to come up with the name. It wasn't like a big name
No,
in boxing anyway.
He was a total disappointment. He's basically who Rocky was supposed to be.
Yeah.
He
I did
went,
hear the story.
He went like 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I know it was based on an actual character. I'm not going to be able to come up with his name. I don't think. Maybe James or Corey could.
I'll give it to you guys. Otherwise, you have to. Chuck Webner.
I would have not gotten it.
It was one of those, if you knew it, if you heard it.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't even sound familiar, but I do remember hearing that story. That's Sylvester's inspiration for the movie.
Yeah, and he's mildly after it, but if you listen to Chuck Webner's part, no, it was very close to my story. Yeah, when it comes to money, it's always.
I should be paid more. That's my story. I want to get paid.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a.
But by the way,
actually, I have a question for you. Why is Gibson hung there? What was the significance of tonight's? Usually, hanging a guitar that has some kind of significance of something. Is there some kind of interesting story that the Gibson is hanging up there?
White smoke versus the dark smoke on between my two Gibsons. Avemos Papa.
You just made that bullshit up right now, right?
Yeah, no, it was down here, and it's a great looking guitar. Avemos Papa. We have a pope.
So somewhere again to go into that line of stupidity.
Listen, again, it's probably the whole not growing up Catholic. I guess there's also the fact that my mother's family. This is this whole thing. I've never, not my thing. It's just interesting to me. It's interesting.
Okay,
it's fascinating.
All right, I have another sports question. I keep apologizing, Dave, but these are the only things that I know that are interesting facts. Jim Brown was known as one of the greatest football players of all time, and
he speaks jive.
He played other sports. One was basketball. He played for the University of Syracuse with former coach Jim Boeheim. What was the other sport that he is also considered maybe the greatest player of all time in?
Is it like out of this world kind of sport? Like you wouldn't think of him as that?
Not necessarily. And I'm going to give you a clue on this for everybody. He grew up in Manhasset, Long Island.
Track and field?
Nope.
Lacrosse.
That is correct.
I knew that.
And the reason when I say Long Island is known for having great lacrosse players.
Oh, I was thinking track and field because you were talking about it back in previous episodes.
So Jim Brown, was a great running back and everything, and he had a lot of speed. But one of the stories, not that this is a fun fact, sort of. A lot of gentlemen, now that we're having this the whole Diddy trial, let's go back to the old Playboy Club thing, which probably wasn't too far off, except Hugh never got arrested for it. But hold on, let me go where this goes.
Wait, oh my God.
Well, think about it. What do you think? You think all those girls were above age at the Playboy Club? Stop it. You're very naive if you think so.
Yeah, you're not. That was more of a I never thought of it like that.
So anyway, many people used to go there a lot. And two of the people we spoke about tonight. One was Jim Brown, and the other was the great Wilt Chamberlain. As we've discussed many times, Wilt holds the record without being vetted as the man who slept with the most women. 20,000, according to his book.
Not a very good roaster.
Time. But Jim and Wilt used to go to the Playboy Mansion, shockingly, a significant amount of time to go to the parties there. Jim would challenge Wilt Chamberlain to a race all the time. Jim could not put it in his head that Wilt Chamberlain, 7'1", could beat him in a 40 or 50-yard dash.
But Wilt Chamberlain put it in a lot of other women's heads. Oh! No.
You're the only one who thinks it's funny. I just, it's just
Ew.
that's your humor sucks. Leave Dave to do the humor. You know. But anyway, yeah, Wilt would beat Jim Brown all the time. They would go to the Playboy Club. Jim would get drunk and challenge Wilt to a race, and Wilt would be like, "This is easy money, baby. let's do it." And Wilt would beat him every single time. So, fun fact. But yes, if you think about the Playboy Club of yesteryear, it probably was very similar to the Diddy parties without the baby oil, or at least as much baby oil.
When the Grateful Dead played the Playboy Club After Dark, they were like, "This is way too square. This is way too just normal." So they may or may not have dosed the punch. So like again, I get it. It's like the Playboy Club. It's still like in the '60s. It's still like Playboy's still kind of there's still this classy thing about it. And there was the variety show. So Hugh Hefner's not exactly Mr.
That was in Chicago, by the way. The variety show was at his penthouse in Chicago. That was not in Hollywood.
Well, actually, it was on a soundstage on top of that too. It wasn't actually in the Playboy Club, but yeah, the Playboy Club After Dark. So yeah, the Grateful Dead, they dosed the entire cast, and I could only imagine just how
they used to have it in Poconos, the Playboy Club, the Lake Gorge.
Wait, you mean Chicago, the home of Pope?
Yes.
I
wonder if he ever frequented one of the Hugh Hefner parties.
I have a weird feeling that he probably didn't.
Probably not. although it back in the day, Hugh Hefner would have had an interview with him.
You're young.
I'm sure that I don't know this for a fact or in any way, but
to imagine there was a.
I would imagine there's been some religious figures who have been interviewed by the. I know the president has, but Jimmy Carter had been.
That arguably won him that interview. That interview arguably was one of the reasons he won the presidency.
But
because he was willing to do the interview.
It's 9:28.
Oh wow.
So we probably should hold the fun facts for another fun Dilem-Monday. Yeah. Hopefully people found these facts fun. I will give Corey the win for the best fun fact if we do that, because I will also say he had the worst facts, but he did get the winning best facts. I'll give him that. The one that certainly had inquired the most brain power was Dave's with the lettering and stuff. But
that's
anyway.
very Da Vinci Code.
Yes, very Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, my mind's always been kind of interested in stuff like that.
But anyway, Dave, where are you going to be? And hopefully you'll be feeling well and don't do anything crazy this week.
Yes. Well, again, that just happened to me. I don't even know if I did anything. But anyway, thank you, Corey, for putting that up. I will not be able to join Dilem-Monday next week. I'll be at the Kitchen restaurant in Prospect, Connecticut. The following Saturday, the 24th, Thomas Hooker Brewery in Hartford. And among others, New England Brewing in Woodbridge, Connecticut on Saturday, May 31st.
Nice.
And my website's on there now. Thank you again, Corey.
Perfect.
No problem.
James, tell us about the show. What's coming on?
All right. So yesterday I posted an episode. We talk about men and skincare routines and how we need to get better at that. That's one thing.
That's a great topic.
Well, ironically, it wasn't when I went over to my buddy's house to do the show. He beard oil. I'm like, I normally don't do it. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to start getting the habit of taking better care of my face.
The Elizabeth Arden 8-hour cream.
This is one I wish you should have had me on for that one. I used to, my dad had his whole thing. And my dad, who was the accountant who wore polyester shirts and short sleeves with suits and had a pocket protector, dad, he meticulously, the way he shaved and used his Almay cream afterwards for the eyeshadows and his face he died without any rings under his eyes. He lasted almost 90 years, never had his skin was beautiful. If the rest of his body looked as good as his face and his skin, it would have been great. So I too am the biggest loser. The shaving on the electric shave first. Then I put the butter, the shaving butter on before the shaving cream. Then the shave regular, then the electric shaver for the rest of it. The Vitalis thingy, the yellow alcohol thing afterwards, and then the cream after the shower. I am ridiculous with the face cream. So, and I know Corey uses tons of ridiculous shit on his face as well.
I will say, a little retinol at night. I like the Elizabeth Arden 8-hour cream. If it's worked for old ladies for the last 100 years, it'll work for me. By the way, she's buried at the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in Sleepy Hollow, New York, along with
we passed by that yesterday.
We did.
We didn't mention it, but we were there.
She's buried with a bunch of the Astors and a bunch of the Rockefellers and ton of famous people buried.
By the way, where are you going to be this week, or do you want to say something before you don't remember and I have to tell you?
I will this week. I'm going to be playing at a party in Cambridge on Thursday. Yes, no.
Yes, it's a Harvard graduation party on Thursday night.
And then what?
Saturday. We will be playing in the Orange, Connecticut Fairgrounds for the Boy Scouts.
Yes, they're having a jamboree.
Boy Scouts there.
Very familiar with those fairgrounds. That's the community center. I've actually performed there, and I went to camp there as a kid.
Wow. So this is a cool thing. We're going to be playing in front of a lot of people, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
And then yeah.
Okay.
And then next week, I'm going to get to have a lot of fun. Friday night, I will be, after 15 years of, going to this open mic, I'm going to get to guest host the LaSalle Market open mic on Friday night. That's going to be a great time. And then Saturday, the Dilemma Band will be performing in the center of Collinsville, right outside of LaSalle Market, but on the stage called The Slab, where we will be opening up the Music on Main series for the whole summer. And I encourage everyone to go take a look at the whole list of everybody who's on that list. I want y'all to take a look. Go check out all of the band's websites, social medias, find out the style of music they have, and give them a view instead of, just blindly and openly commenting without doing even an ounce of research. But no one's going to be, and don't worry, no one's going to be offended about me making that comment, because I didn't share it into the Collinsville group, because apparently they don't want to hear about when people are talking about the town. But
there was, I saw a comment today about, where is it? I'm like, dude, if you live in
Collinsville,
where it is, it's only been there the last 5 years on the Slab next to LaSalle Market. Please don't tell me you live in Collinsville and don't know that. But okay, you have to be oblivious. But the second guy was like, there should be a write-up of all 20-something bands and what kind of music they play. Hey, dude, if you want to know, just look them up. It's real. If they have a website, you'll figure it out. Or hey, if you're around and you want to hear good music, every Saturday for the next 20 weeks, from the 24th on, there's going to be really good music there. Just go have a good time. Go to Crown and Hammer, hit up LaSalle, go to the Slab, have the ice cream. It's a great town to hang out. Just do that. What does it matter? Please stop it. But yeah, I saw that. Enjoy every sandwich. Warren Zevon, famous quote. I love it. But on that note, Corey.
With that in mind, enjoy every sandwich. We'll be here next week discussing, I don't know what, something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe my hockey team will come on. I don't know, something cool. We'll do something fun. It'll be a good time. And we will catch you on another Dilem-Monday.